Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the ThePCelitist. My name is Woodsie.
My name is Shepherd.
And, yes, do you know what time it is, Shepherd?
8:56.
It's a very... No, it's a very dire time indeed for us. It is relating to the consoles because the new consoles are on the horizon. And thus, we are needed more than ever in this moment.
We're always needed. How more so now than ever?
Well, this video is just really kind of just an open-ended question based on,
Well, that's good because if it was closed-ended, it would basically be yes or no.
Basically, what are your feelings of the new consoles, like of this time right now for PC gaming based on it? Without having done any research, just how has it permeated your bubble of influence?
Well, I'm glad to see it for a variety of reasons, and this is not an exhaustive list because I was not prepared for this question.
Right.
So forgive me if I don't think of something brilliant that you all think of. I'm sure I would have thought of it if given the appropriate time.
Well, I'm like, even if you said, I'm not saying you're going to say this, but if you said, like, I really haven't thought about them at all, that would have been a legitimate answer because I was just curious, like, is it weighed on your mind at all? Does it matter to you?
It has in the sense of I'm excited that they will come with much more robust hardware than the 360 and the PlayStation 3. I think that if games recently have been made, if they're multi-platform, games have been made, even if they're kind of optimized for PC, if they're ported to console, they have to be able to run on that hardware. And yes, they could also be made to run on like a dual-core PC, which is not nearly as powerful as it should be. But I'm excited because I think that you're raising the minimum level hardware requirements for games going forward. Right. And yes, as soon as, kind of like when you buy your graphics card in a week, it's not obsolete, but it's outdated. Some people say kind of with any new technology you buy, as soon as you buy it, it's obsolete. There's a new TV, new monitor that comes out.
Right.
But I'm excited because the minimum hardware standards for games will rise. And I'm excited to see what just console PC, I'm excited to see what technology people have been doing and what the new consoles will look like, how they'll perform. I think that it is interesting that particularly Microsoft is trying to make the Xbox One your one-stop shop for all things entertainment, even though you can't stream media, even though it's missing some key components there.
Right.
You can't save movies and things like that to your hard drive.
So you can't use it like a DVR?
Yeah, you can't use like a DVR. That's what I mean. Yeah, you can't use like a DVR, though they haven't ruled out the possibility of doing that in the future. They have. I was reading an article today from IT World about how they're talking about that in the future. But no, I am excited because I just want to know how it will change entertainment, and I want to know how it will affect the way people get into gaming. Right now, it's PC gaming for more of the enthusiasts. The console gaming, if no one really is buying a new 360 who has not ever owned one or really played it. I don't really think that people just kind of fall into console gaming with the older consoles. And then you have mobile and social gaming and cloud gaming. It's kind of trying to make its way into the market.
Right.
So I am interested to see just how the exposing of this new variable will change the industry. But particularly, as I said, the hardware. I want to see what that does to the minimum level of games being made.
Well, if you listen to Microsoft and Sony, they're changing the face of gaming forever.
Yeah, apparently.
Every time.
But the argument is, if you do want a device that has very robust hardware, it is going to cost a lot of money.
Right.
And you have to be willing to make that decision as a manufacturer. How close do we want to get to a PC-type gaming infrastructure?
Right.
And the closer you get to that, the more expensive it's going to be, and you have to find that equilibrium.
Right.
And I'm interested to see. It'll sell like crazy. I think no matter the price, it'll sell like crazy.
Do you think so?
I do. I think people have been. It's been so hyped for so long.
Right.
And yes, we're still in. I don't want to use the R word because apparently we're not allowed to. The economy still is not where we thought it would be at this time.
Right.
But I do think it will still sell like crazy. And it may not be the 16-year-olds who are buying it. It may be the 20 pluses, 25 pluses, people who are more likely to afford it.
Right.
But I still think it'll sell very well because, quite frankly, you have the choice between forking over a lot of money or playing on a 7-year-old console. And I think a lot of people will opt for the new option, even though they
Especially since people pay $600, which I'm guessing will probably be around.
True, not to mention
for a phone.
Yes, not to mention that you can't play your old games. So really, the true cost of a console is not $800, whatever it is. You have to buy all new games. I don't know if I don't know if that means the PlayStation, or like for example, the Xbox One version of games you already own and love, or how that is going to work. But obviously, any new games going forward. But what happens to all the games that you currently are playing that you love? And I know for the Call of Duty crowd, they don't care because it's a new game every year that they have to buy. And then the map packs that come with them have to buy.
Hey, this one's about ghosts. Okay?
So that was my long-winded answer. How do you feel?
I think I agree on the first point that we're going to get some like new game engines coming out, like Unreal 4 and such. So we'll get the kind of the advantage of new game engines being developed for stronger hardware. Mm-hmm. But I frankly I haven't thought about them that much because I don't think it's going to change a lot when it comes to PC gaming. I personally feel that PC gaming has had like enough, it's gotten ahead enough into kind of establishing like these are PC type games, and developers who like making stuff for PC with keyboards and mice and just certain game styles that just kind of work on a PC, and that those will just exist. And that, this kind of like where we were kind of stagnated in this consoleization area, we kind of broke away from that. And until they start having keyboard and mouse come with an Xbox, it's still going to be a controller. It's still going to be the same restrictive type of gameplay. I mean, every game I've seen pictures or videos of seem like the same stuff. Mm-hmm. It just looks better. Yeah. Which is fine. I mean, I like things to look better, but, there has to be some advancements in gameplay. Mm-hmm. So essentially my feelings on it are that I don't have that many feelings on it because I just don't think it's going to change that much.
I think a significant change, and you may have been planning to bring this up, will be in the marketplace in terms of how games are made and distributed. One thing that I'm curious about is with these consoles including the ability to buy games digitally and download them, because whereas PC has been really the only front runner in digital distribution, now that the three major players will be all about that, I do wonder if we're going to see, for example, the fact that a game, whether it's the hard copy or the digital download, is $60. I do think people need to speak up and say, why are we paying the same price for clearly a different amount of overhead?
Which a lot of console gamers hate because they can't trade in.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. And so I'm interested to see how the distribution aspect changes. I'm also interested, special shout out to the Ouya, how indie developers will factor in, particularly for that device, but also into the big three. Because right now, how can you really think of a better device that is as open source as that? And you could buy it for $300, have one shipped to you, and just start making games for it. And it's going to be a lot like the
Which one are you talking about?
The Ouya.
The Ouya?
And it's going to be a lot like the Apple Store, where everyone's making a friggin' app, so how can you tell what the good ones are? And just like, I think it will sort of drag down what it means to call oneself a developer. Right. Because I think it used to mean something. Now it just means like, well, do you make actual games or do you make like an app that's a game? Right. Do you make Fruit Ninja? I think there is a difference. So I'm interested also to see not just how, if it changes the way games are distributed, right, and if it also changes the way games are made. With so many new people coming to the it's kind of like being able to self-publish written content. Right. How you can do it online. You dramatically expose it to an enormous number of people who want to get into it. So I'm interested to see what effect that has both on the availability of those ideas, right, and how it affects the people, the developers at the top who have always been, will always be making games, if they will feel that pressure and change the way they make games. And this is all I conjecture. I don't know, but I'm interested to see if it changes, and if so, to what extent.
Like what I'm interested to see kind of play out is that there's so many devices now in which you can play games. So you have your Xbox, PlayStation. You have your old Xbox and PlayStations. You'll have the Ouya.
Dreamcast.
No. You have the Ouya. You have your iOS stuff.
Android.
You have You're going to have Alienware's coming out with like a little thing, the Steam box possibly. There's going to be so many ways to get a game, and you're going to see the same game probably like on all these different platforms. Then it's all going to come down to two things. PC gamers will have the advantage of having PC-only games, just maybe a lot of times just solely based on the control scheme and how open source it is. The fact that there's no barriers to get into PC gaming. You make a game, you release it on the internet, people buy it. You know, like there's so few barriers to get into PC gaming development. And then the other factor is exclusives will only be based on deals made between companies. Like the only reason you're exclusive to PlayStation has nothing to do with hardware, has nothing to do with your, you know, the ability of the machine. It's just that we, you know, bought the rights to that.
I'm still bitter about not being able to play NFL Quarterback Club because I was a PlayStation kid growing up and I didn't have an Xbox. Still bitter.
Those are really what define the consoles now. I mean, I don't know. I mean, in the last console fight, which I'm happy to see this again, like just the fighting between hardware was just like so brutal about like how many cores the PlayStation 3 has versus, you know, the Xbox. And it's like, it's all going to happen again when the hardware specs come out.
Yeah.
But I think everyone knows these things are like kind of on par, you know, the two major consoles.
Yeah, they're not going to be significantly different. And I think a lot of it, at least for the people I know, the difference between whether they have an Xbox 360 or a PlayStation 3 is familiarity with the controller scheme and level of comfort.
Right.
And at the time when it came out, cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most of the, you know, with exclusives, they do matter.
Right.
And right now I'm dealing with a exclusive strife. Not so much exclusivity, but the fact that an NHL game has not been made for the PC since 2009, I believe, really pisses me off.
Right. But you play sports games. So
I do.
Really...
But come on. There are dozens of us. Dozens.
What I'm hoping to see is, you know, the advancements in how jerseys look in basketball games.
I agree.
Will improve. Every generation, like, look how good the clothes look, and now they hang and bounce around.
I remember when NFL 2K came out for the Dreamcast, and it was, you can see mesh on the jerseys and sweat on the foreheads. And we were amazed.
Right. So now what is it going to be?
I don't want to know.
I want to see all the sweat of all the audience members.
You can see the STDs of the athletes. Too far?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a little.
Sorry. Anything else you wanted to add to this discussion?
No. I'm just curious how the community feels.
I'm going to guess, and I'm glad we've reached this point where we are familiar enough with some of our subscribers because they so wonderfully contribute to almost each and every video. I can anticipate what some of them are going to say.
Right.
I'm not going to say it. I want to see if I'm pleasantly surprised or if I really know some of these people as well as I think I do.
Okay.
But I will give one shout out in particular. Need more loot. I'm very interested in your answer. PC gaming standards. Definitely, particularly to my hardware point. Really interested in your answer.
He always has a good answer.
He does.
My name is Woodsie.
My name is Shepherd. This is the PC Elitist signing out.